Hey guys, it's very ill Dom here talking about whether Karrion Kross, well, we know he's back, what he's going to be doing in WWE. What is his plans? How's he going to get involved in the Drew and Roman story? That's the plan, isn't it? So that's what's being talked about. Is he going to get involved with Roman and Drew and be part of that triple threat match at Clash in the Castle? But yeah, let's do some debating. Let's do some booking for Karrion Kross in the WWE right after this uh, intro that we're going to do. Let's see who we're going to have. Let's have Mick Foley.
This is the hardcore legend, Mick Foley. Well, hello and welcome to Give Me a Haul. Yeah, I hope everyone there, right there in Yorkshire, is having a nice day. Bang, bang. Have a nice day. Yeah.
All right, guys. So we are here talking about Karrion Kross. Recently returned. He's been on the Indies. I saw him as part of Ric Flair's last match a few weeks ago or a week ago. Didn't expect him to be back, to be fair. He wasn't one of the guys that I was kind of associating necessarily with, a definite return. I thought, you putting money on, again, Dakota Kai, yes, absolutely. Bray Wyatt, obviously, we've talked quite a lot about Bray's return and the potential of Bray's return, but Karrion Kross certainly wasn't on my list. But I know that WWE, and more specifically Triple H, sees him as a top guy. You have to excuse me, guys. I'm a little ill. I've got a bug. But we'll do our best to fantasy book some Karrion Kross for the next sort of 45 minutes to an hour before Anthony hopefully goes live with some AEW action as we are doing this on a Wednesday. But yeah, what do you guys think about Karrion Kross? What do you guys think about him returning? And with Scarlett as well, such a demanding presence is Scarlet Bordeaux. And obviously Karrion Kross as well. Triple H clearly sees him as a top guy. He's automatically being, it's talked about that he's automatically being put into this triple threat match for Clash in the Castle, which was going to be Drew's moment, whether he won or lost. Obviously the first UK pay-per-view for the WWE in so long. And we're going to see, Karrion Kross potentially inserted into that, that's big praise. That's high praise from WWE and for Triple H. Do you think he could be built enough to credibly beat Roman? That's a great question, Dan. No, I don't. I mean, that's my personal taste. But then he is, if you look at him, of course, he is a WWE guy through and through. He is, he looks amazing. He is incredibly talented. His suplexes are great. It's one of those things. I've just realized I am in the background here. Professional layout as ever. Let's bring me back into it for a second. But yeah, no, I think Karrion Kross is he's a WWE guy. He's he's got the look, he's got the vibe, the feel of a WWE guy. My personal taste is that he's not there to beat Roman, only to provide a sort of foe for Drew post Clash in the Castle. I think Roman has to retain Clash in the Castle, whether it's a one-on-one match or a triple threat, whether it's Drew and Roman or Drew, Roman and Karrion. But that was particularly telling that Karrion Kross just comes back straight away, attacks Drew McIntyre, and is shifted right away to the top of the card. I don't think we've seen that. Very few times have we seen that in WWE, where you have the guy come in and automatically be put to the top of the card. It just doesn't happen. At Chris Jericho, maybe when he was in WWE, is an example of that. There must be another example, Taz briefly when he beat Kurt Angle at the Royal Rumble. I know Karrion Kross has been in WWE before being in NXT, and that's why Triple H loves him so much. That's why he's in this position. But yeah, it's to me, this is very much a re-debut for Karrion Kross. Like I say, if you look at that photo there, he's tapping his wrist. That TikTok is his catchphrase. He's telling to Roman that his time is up. So he's obviously going for that title. Like Dan says, I just don't think he is going to be that guy. But then I don't know who it is. If it's not The Rock, if he's not going to be in LA next year. We've talked a lot on this podcast about it being Cody Rhodes. For me, if I have to pick between Cody and Karrion, I'm going to pick Cody Rhodes. I think Cody is designed for that championship personally, but Karrion Kross can easily go from Clash in the Castle, a triple threat. He doesn't have to take the pin. Roman pins. If Roman pins Drew, and then Karrion goes into a feud with Drew, I think that that still cements him at the top of the card. That still puts him at the top of the card, and that is it's amazing to see a guy who went away, was just released. There was no real fanfare around Kross, especially the main roster, debut with the mask and the gladiator stuff, the kind of fetish gladiator. It wasn't a big deal when he got to the main roster. He was a big deal on NXT, and this feels to me like Triple H is trying to, bring back that NXT presentation, that dominant presentation. Hassan is in. Hello, Hassan. And Michael is in as well. Michael, how would you book Karrion Kross in WWE? Hassan, how would you book Karrion Kross in WWE? That is what we are here to debate for the next few minutes, to half an hour to 45, whatever. Karrion Kross in WWE, returning again. Triple H bringing him back in, because he's a Triple H guy. He looks the part. He feels the part. He's got the indie credibility. And we know that now the previous tryouts that were not having any indie guys didn't go well. Karrion Kross is an indie guy. He's been around. He's the kind of guy with the experience that I think Triple H wants. And I think the WWE needs, and I think they're going to bring back Johnny Gargano. I think they're going to bring back Bray Wyatt eventually to again bolster that roster. And then, of course, we can't forget that they brought back Dexter Lumis. They brought back Dexter Lumis recently. Dexter came back in on Raw on Monday. Now, Dexter Lumis is another guy that's been in Impact Wrestling. He's been in he's been all over the place, as well as WWE, and Triple H obviously sees something in his character, the stalker character, potentially going after AJ Styles, his former Impact teammate. So it's an exciting time for wrestling fans, for us. This is arguably the most exciting time for wrestling fans we've seen, in the last few years, certainly since we've been doing the podcast. But we are here to talk about Karrion Kross, and for me personally, Karrion Kross is the biggest re-signing. Obviously, like I say, I wouldn't, like I said in the beginning, not to contradict myself, I don't think he's, I expected Dakota Kai to come back. I expected Dakota Kai to come back eventually. It's just too good a talent. And there's reports that obviously she shows AEW over WWE, and I think these returns are exclusive to people that have chosen WWE over AEW if they've been offered contracts. Karrion Kross was rumored he was offered an AEW spot, and it didn't work out, and so that's why he's back. So Karrion Kross is the perfect mold for a WWE, top main event guy. Whether he wins the title, especially with Roman in charge, I don't think he is that guy. Like I've said. Let's have a look. Michael, I would have him win the titles against Roman. In all honesty, I always love Kross. I'm tired of Roman now. Do you think that Roman is more exciting than Karrion Michael. I certainly don't, but going back to what I was saying before, I get from a Triple H standpoint why Karrion Kross is back, and I do get that. I think he's the biggest name in terms of name value across wrestling. I personally understand more that Dakota Kai came back. That makes the most sense to me from a talent perspective. Um, I wouldn't have bought Karrion Kross back if it was me. But I'm not booking for one of the world's largest wrestling promotion. But yeah, an interesting statement. I would have him win the titles against Roman. In all honesty, interesting. That would be probably one of the more meteoric rises, wouldn't it, in wrestling in recent memory if he was to win the title at Clash in the Castle, which we will be streaming here on the channel. I know Dan Hargreaves, who is in and who has obviously been working really hard on Raw. He is also going to be there as well. I just think it would take away too much from Drew and from Drew's moment, and I think Drew can still have a moment in Wales, even if he loses. And having Karrion Kross there, guys, just really diminishes that. So, but I know the conversation has been had to put him in the triple threat. But an interesting point, I'd have him as the guy to dethrone Roman for one of the titles. Interesting question. One of the titles, yeah. I mean, I've been thinking about both of them. I have been thinking about both of them since they've been unanimized. That's not a word. I'm very ill. Since they've been united, I've always thought of them as one title, but of course there are two. And Raw has requested that one of the titles be returned to Raw. So that Raw has a top title. Maybe Karrion Kross is that guy, but again. Drew needs his moment. Drew didn't get it in front of fans, and to me, Karrion being here takes away from that. Absolutely. I mean, we haven't also talked about Scarlett. Scarlett's a great, great talent. Was great in Impact Wrestling. Excuse me. And really, is a great partner for Karrion, of course, but looks like $1 million. Looks like a quintessential WWE women's potential champion. So I could definitely see Scarlet Bordeaux in that position. Winning a championship and certainly wrestling in the women's division and being used to bolster that. That's what I would like to see from Scarlet Bordeaux. Do you see the US title as his glass ceiling if he doesn't win the main title? So that's another interesting question. Yeah. You know what? I can see him now that it's been said to me, and now that it's an obvious thing when you think about it. Now those titles, I'm not looking at those titles as one title anymore. I'm looking at them as two, and I think they do want a Raw champion. Post Clash in the Castle, this new era, this new Triple H era, and I think that Karrion could be a eventual champion. But I think it should be Drew. If anyone's taking one of those titles, it should be Drew. But I think from what I understand, the Clash in the Castle is for both belts, and that's key. If we're looking at both belts, then for me it has to be Cody Rhodes. Eventually, if we're looking at splitting the titles, then either Karrion or Drew, but preferably Drew to have his moment in front of fans. First, like I said in the beginning, I would, if I was booking this, I would have them both lose at Clash in the Castle, Drew take the pin, and then Karrion go into a feud with Drew. Now, if Karrion got the win or Drew got the win, now again, I would give Drew the win if it was announced that it was going to be for one of the titles, the Raw title, probably, given the US network's investment in Raw. I would give it to Drew, and then I would have Karrion Kross chase it. Whether he wins it or not is another matter. So that would be my booking. I would have there's two strands to it. So if it's for both titles at Clash in the Castle, then it's got to be Roman retains, carries on to Cody Rhodes or The Rock, but more likely Cody Rhodes. But if we're talking, Drew takes the pin, and Karrion and Drew have a feud post Clash in the Castle. But then if we are talking objectively about these, about um, the Raw Championship going back to the USA Network, then you have to give that some serious thought. They do need a new champion. Roman can't be on both brands. He's lessened his time now. He's not doing as much in wrestling, so I don't think we'll see him appear regularly on both brands. So they do need a champion. And Karrion Kross, if you are looking for a guy after Drew, and that is the key, as Michael says, and we'll go through some comments in a minute. I'm not going to make this a long one. It'll be 20 minutes, half an hour. If we're looking for a guy after Drew, then Karrion Kross, I can see that. Is he the guy to dethrone Roman for both titles? No. Drew has more probability of doing that, but only because we're in Wales for Clash in the Castle. But if we're looking at just the Raw belt and people going for the Raw belt, which is what's been talked about, I understand, then Karrion is a contender for that, as Dan said. And so Dan does, Karrion doesn't have that glass ceiling there, if we're talking like that. But if Roman remains with the titles, then yes. If Roman remains with both titles, then absolutely, because you're only going to have The Rock or Cody dethrone Roman, right? I think Roman is more over. It's not that I don't think Roman. It's just Roman needs to be on TV more and defend the belt on TV every once in a while. I understand that, but I understand also, Michael, that he has put in requests to to not be on TV that much or as much. And I understand that, he's got a hectic schedule. He's got movies. He's got all this stuff to do. You know what I mean? And he is taking a lot more time away, and you're right. I'd love to have Roman on TV more myself, but it just isn't going to work. It's just not going to happen. Now he's moving into other things, and that's probably a good reason. If they're not going to keep the belt on him till The Rock at WrestleMania or Cody Rhodes' return, then they do need a new champion. But it needs to be, for me, it needs to be Drew. Like I say, like you agree there. I do agree, Drew. Drew needs a big moment in front of a crowd. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the key here. Drew does need a big moment. Don't forget, you can see a quick interview with Drew on the channel as well. But yeah, I do. Again, going back to my booking or how I would do it, and thank you guys for investing in this video and for being here. There are 6 of you in, which is lovely. If you could like the video, please do. If you haven't subscribed, if you're coming back, please do that. I think, like I say, Drew should have that moment. And my booking is, if Drew isn't going to win the title at Clash of the Castle, which is his best shot, which, I'd love that. Even if it's just one of the titles, but that hasn't been announced yet. It's his best shot of winning Clash in the Castle. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't. Like I say, I think they're going to save it for Cody and or The Rock. But more likely Cody, right? For me personally. But you guys in the chat, you seem to think Karrion is the guy, but I think it's only if they're splitting the titles, only if they're splitting the Raw titles. So my booking was, just to remind you guys, Clash of the Castle is 2 folds to it. So Clash of the Castle happens if both belts are on the line, then Roman retains absolutely and emphatically. If not, if it's for one title, Drew wins it, and Clash of the Castle has his big moment in front of fans, as Michael says, and from that, Karrion can chase it, whether he wins or not. He is still at the top of the card. Where's the soap? Nice to see you, dude. Hassan says hi. Hey, mate. Nice to see you. I believe that if Fox won a title, Drew winning it at Clash of the Castle makes sense. Even if it's with a distraction and then transitions to Raw as the champ. I absolutely agree. 100% Dan, as always. Great, great booking there. It makes sense for Karrion, for Drew to win at Clash in the Castle. even if it's with a distraction. Yeah, and I think that would further, it would help. It would save Roman. Karrion being there allows for that extra moment to make Roman look, still strong. If Roman is going to be beaten by Drew, but then where does that leave Karrion Kross? Does that still leave him at the top of the card? That's what you've got to think about. Is you know, Karrion Kross, it looks like he's being positioned at the top of the main roster card. And how do we stay him? How do we keep him there if he isn't going to win? If he isn't going to chase Drew for the title or go into a feud for a post Clash in the Castle, and they both, if they both lose at Clash in the Castle, where does Karrion Kross go? Does he go into the feud with Drew, which is what I think he will do, regardless. And that's the thing. Hang on a second. Maybe Rowan does double duty at Clash in the Castle. What, both titles? I think that's what the case is. I think that's what's happened with Lesnar, isn't it? The Lesnar feuds have been. The Lesnar feuds work for both titles, John Elite. So, yeah, if the Lesnar feuds are for both titles, then presumably, excuse me, presumably, this one will be as well. Yeah, so I think that's what's happened. Unless it's been announced something different, we are going to see Roman Reigns pull double duty, because that's what he did with Lesnar, and that's what I mean. If you're gonna, you can't have Karrion win the title unless you're going to push him to the stratosphere. But it should be Drew's moment. It should absolutely be Drew's moment. I don't think Karrion would come back with the impact he did unless he was promised a big push with a title run. That's fine, but should it be at the expense of both titles? No, they would have to split them. Karrion Kross isn't the guy to beat Roman for both titles. Maybe the Raw title, but down the line, I'm still steadfast on the fact that Drew should be the guy. If anyone's going to win at Clash of the Castle, it needs to be Drew. But I think down the line, if you had Drew win, if we hypothetically had Drew win for one of the belts, and that is the key, because Drew shouldn't be the guy to beat him for both belts. It should be for the Raw title. So if Drew walks away from Clash of the Castle with the Raw title and then feuds with Karrion, and then Karrion takes it there, then that's something, then maybe that big push that you're talking about is there. Becky is in. I'm sorry, Anthony's not here, Becky, but hopefully you had a wonderful birthday at the weekend. Hi, hey. Hopefully you're doing all right. Thank you for being here. Are you ready for Quack at the Cat, Quack at the Lake, Quake at the Lake? I am not a Hassan, but Anthony hopefully is. I will be resting in 10 minutes time, because this is just a short video to talk about Karrion Kross's return. Dan says, hi, Becky. Becky says, hi, Dan. Are you going to be voting? Are you going to do my voting today? If you want to vote on AEW, absolutely, man. Go for it. If you want to vote on the AEW show, 100%. But yeah. So let's do, what do you guys think? If you want to do any more fantasy booking before I go, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like I say, we've had some good stuff. Roman being dethroned by Karrion, is something that people want to see in the comments. Obviously, people do talk about that. Like I say, for me, he's not the guy to dethrone Roman for both belts. Maybe for a Raw belt, but for me, that's got to be Drew. That's got to be Drew at Clash in the Castle. While we're here, Graham is here. While we're here, we might as well go back and talk about Dexter Lumis. What do you guys think about Dexter? Is Dexter Lumis going to have a feud with AJ Styles based around him stalking AJ? A couple of people, like we said, mentioned about, a couple of people I've read online talking about the history those guys had in Impact Wrestling. And maybe Dexter Lumis is now a heel stalking AJ Styles. So that's interesting there. I don't think Dexter Lumis needs a belt, and I don't think Dexter Lumis needs a lot of things. I think the stalker character works for him. And he can do a lot with that. He can have some quite long feuds with people, being that sort of creepy weirdo. Look at your Goldust when he first came out. Dexter Lumis reminds me a little bit of that. Without the makeup, you can really draw out the sort of quiet, menacing stalker character. And so I think that, he'll have plenty of mid-card feuds, and that's good. Dexter Lumis this is his first time on the roster. First time on the roster doing anything really. We've obviously seen him in NXT with Index, with Indy Hartwell, with The Way, obviously Gargano. Theory, potentially we could see Dexter Lumis interacting with Theory and having a feud, but I don't see Dexter Lumis being catapulted to the top of the card in the same way that we've seen Karrion Kross do that. Dexter Lumis is going to be a solid mid carder, have some decent, weird feuds with the likes of AJ Styles and maybe Theory, where he stalks them and draws them. This is Dexter Lumis now. So we're talking about going back to Karrion Kross. I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased to see him back. I really am. I think, excuse me, guys. I'm really excited to see him back. I think it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. Like I said, there's potential new debuts and people coming back. I am now more of a fan of WWE than I am of AEW. I'm more excited to watch WWE every week again than I am to watch AEW. And that, that's interesting. I am going to watch AEW later on, but I'm not streaming it because I'm very ill, and this is only a short video. Michael needs to go. Don't worry, man. Anthony will be back with AEW in a bit. But like I say, I think again, it's such an exciting time to be a WWE fan. And I think, that there's something, again, I've not been this excited for like a decade, having Triple H in charge is just fresh blood, Vince McMahon, obviously more allegations have come out against Vince McMahon as well, and Triple H, Stephanie, seem to be the best option for the future of the company, for the future of that. I don't know what you mean, Hassan. I'm sorry about that. Are you ready to vote for me? Do you mean on the Discord? I'm not entirely sure what you mean there, mate. Are you okay? Yeah, sorry. I've got an ear infection and an eye infection and a cough, Graham, which I seem to have gotten from Spain when I was in Spain. So I promised to do this, and I am here. We are doing 30 minutes or just over of how you would put Karrion Kross on the main roster. But yeah, like I say, going back thank you. Well, thank you guys for joining me rather than just going straight back into it to rush it. Thank you guys for joining me. These are quick videos, shorter videos. It's more people than I'm used to for these how you would book or how would you book videos. So thank you so much for watching. Once again, for me, Roman retains at Clash of the Castle, whether it's a triple threat with Karrion Kross or Drew. Kross Drew, or it's Drew versus Roman. That's what I would go with my gut instinct, because I think it has to be Cody that takes the belt. But Drew has the best shot of anybody else on the roster. So if they're going to do it, they do it here. And I think Karrion Kross is going to, Karrion Kross is going to feud with Drew, whether there's a title involved or not, after Clash of the Castle. Let's have a look. Let's go back up the comment because I missed this. I would honestly have him replace Drew McIntyre on Clash of the Castle. Why? No, it has to be Drew. There's the not the hometown, the home country advantage. To me, I mean, it's an interesting booking decision, WWE Thomas fan. But why would you do that? It makes so much sense from a media perspective, from a UK perspective, to have Drew on that card at the top of the card. What if Drew wins at Clash, then Drew loses it to Cody at Mania, then leaves Karrion to feud with Roman, with the possibility of The Rock for Mania? Wait a second. So you want Karrion Kross to feud with The Rock? No. Again, I'm not as big a fan as some of you guys of Karrion Kross. I don't know whether Karrion could carry that. No pun intended. I think Drew needs to be a face, if he's going to go with Roman. I think Cody would be an overwhelming favorite against Drew. I think Cody and Roman, Roman's the top heel. And I think, you've not got enough time to establish Drew as a top heel to go against Cody, even now. WrestleMania is months away, but you still don't have the time to build Drew up in the way that you can do with, Cody and Roman. That story sells itself. But yeah, if you're going to have anyone beat Roman across the castle, it has to be Drew. It's not COVID, is it? No, it's not. I've just done a test. It's a virus. I will drop you a message. No problem. Oh, you want me to put a poll on? I would, but this is more like an open question, Hassan. So, I will put polls on for AEW matches. Who's going to win later on in the AEW stream? But right now, it's just this is my question. The question you see is right there. How would you put Karrion Kross into WWE? Um, you know what? We can do one, can't we? We can say, how about this? How about this? For as long as we go, let's say, does Karrion Kross does Karrion Kross get added? And I'm typing added to the triple threat at Clash. So there you go. You are getting a question. I needed to be more inventive, Hassan, so I apologize for that. I'm very ill. That's my excuse. So does Karrion Kross get added to the triple threat at Clash? And that is going out there to the community. So you guys have a couple of minutes to answer that. And then whatever that is, whatever that answer is, we'll add another question to that, which is, does Karrion Kross win? So no, Roman and Rockmania. Absolutely Roman and Rockmania. It makes zero sense to me to have Karrion Kross versus The Rock. Oh, I see. Sorry. Yeah. So you want Drew and Cody at Mania and Roman and Rock. Right, okay. And Drew is a heel versus Cody. That could work. But I still think the bigger money match is a title match. The Rock coming back and fighting for the title. And again, you need Karrion Kross away from that. So, yeah, interesting point there. Well, if Drew wins at Clash, then Drew loses to Cody at Mania. That is carrying to feud with. Yeah, okay, yeah. No, I see what you mean. So Cross feuds with Drew or Cody, and Roman feuds with The Rock. Yeah, absolutely. Rock and Roman doesn't need a title involved. If you ask me, yeah, I understand that too. I understand what you mean. I do understand what you mean. Yeah, for me, from a money perspective, I would have the title involved in it personally. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't need to have a title. So maybe Dan's booking there of Cody and Drew fighting it out could be really good. It could be really good for Mania. Absolutely. Where's voted? Thank you very much. How about who should take the title off Roman? Yeah, that's a good one. We'll do that as well. Thank you, Becky. I appreciate it. Or is that Anthony on Becky's account? Who knows? Who knows, man? The ultimate mystery. So okay. So let's have a look at what you guys have said on that poll. We did. Let's have a look how we did. So we've had 4 votes, which is fine. So no says 75 and yes says 25. I agree. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do who should take the title off Roman. Title off Roman. Let's figure this one out. So Kross. Let's put Kross in there. We'll put Cody in there. We'll put Drew in there. We'll put The Rock in there as well. Okay, so you guys vote on that one for a few more minutes, and then we'll kind of wind up. Yes, you are better looking than Anthony, Becky. But no, thank you for the suggestion as well. There's 10 people, and this is lovely for one of the How Would You Book episodes. This doesn't normally happen for us. Like I say, the big question is, how would you book Karrion Kross in WWE? I've done my fantasy booking. We've talked a little bit about some of you guys, some of you guys' favorite bookings as well. So go back if you want to and watch that. Words is voting. Thank you very much. I hope he doesn't bring back the gladiator gimmick. I do not think, Jamel, that is ever going to happen. I think Triple H will see to that. The gladiator gimmick will never be back. I voted The Rock. You see, for me, Words, the title is great. Having the title in there with The Rock and Roman, it's just money. Like I said, it was set above. And John Elite said it. Rock and Roman doesn't need title. You're right, it doesn't. But to me, more money. It's more money. It's a bigger deal if the title's involved. So Words, I'd be voting for The Rock too. I was thinking the two guys who left WWE and did time on the Indies, who became massive stars for one title, and the two WWE homegrown stars for the second title. You mean The Rock and Roman for the second title, and Cody and Drew, or Cody, or and Karrion involved in that. Sorry if I'm misinterpreting, man. I am tired and ill. But I think, two guys who left to be and did tell me. So, Drew and Cody. Y'all talking about Drew and Cody, are you? And then The Rock and Roman. Yeah. Now, that makes that makes a lot of sense. But then where does Karrion fit into that? Like I say, if he's not in the triple threat, which we could be seeing on SmackDown, which I should tell you, I have decided to do. I'm going to do a SmackDown on Friday, which is very rare for us. We don't normally do SmackDowns, but again, more excited about WWE than I have been for a long time. More excited about WWE than I am about AEW, to be honest. So it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. And thank you guys for joining this one. Once again, if you want, you can watch back. You can watch back to this booking, how I would book Karrion Kross. Thanks for the vote. No problem. I'm glad we finally got there, Hassan. I'm sorry I misunderstood you at first. I'm very old. Yeah, exactly. Roman versus Kross isn't 5-star material, but Roman versus The Rock for the title is. I don't see Kross fitting into that, especially not against The Rock. So I get it again. If he's going to be involved with any of these people and convincingly go over them, then it's got to be Drew for me. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be Drew for me. Because he can't go over. To me, he can't really go over Roman, and he can't go over Cody. So does he win the title down the line? Only if Drew has it. For me, this is Karrion Kross. Only if Drew has it. For me, does Karrion win? But Drew, like I said, he has to have, once again, just because there's a couple more people in. I booked it that Roman retains at Clash unless it's for the Raw title and Drew wins it and then goes on to feud with Karrion for the Raw title, Drew being the Raw champion. That, for me, is the way I would do it. That's the way I would book it. Karrion could lose against Roman between now and the Rumble, then go up against someone like Seth at Mania. Karrion versus Seth isn't money, though, to me, Dan. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what you got to understand is that Karrion he is not a proven money draw. Even in NXT, he was buried by Adam Cole. Karrion is a great athlete, man. A great athlete, but he's not to me, and I'd love to be proved wrong. Like I say, unless you're putting him as a challenger for Drew, following Clash of the Castle if Drew wins, I don't see it yet. I don't see it yet. Certainly not against Roman. You're welcome anytime. Well, thank you, Hassan. You're welcome anytime, mate. The Gladiator attire Kross doesn't bother me. It only bothers me with the goofy suspenders and helmet. I think that bothered a lot of people, John Elite. I think that bothered so many people. That attire. Kross is good for the IC or UC title. Kross versus either Bobby. That, to me, is how I see. How I see Kross, Jamel. That, to me, is how I see him right now. But then he's only been back, a week, and we'll see on SmackDown. Excuse me. We'll see on SmackDown whether he's going to be elevated quickly. So Kross versus Bobby or Gunther is a 5-star. 100% agree. Or US title, either US title or Gunther's Intercontinental title. Cool, sister son, you are cool. Karrion isn't a draw, but Seth a face against the heel. Karrion could be. I see. So you're saying that heel Karrion is a draw? I could buy into that. Had a decent run with Keith Lee. I just don't think he's as good. And I watched his match against David Hart Smith, British Bulldog Summit, Ric Flair's last match. It was good. He's good. But is he top of the card, world champion, WWE champion? Can he do the media appearances? Can he do all that? And that's what, you've got to look at. Drew can. Roman can Karrion Kross, and we don't know that yet. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, you're right. A heel Karrion is different to a face Karrion. A heel Karrion can sell. If you put Karrion Kross against Seth, then I would automatically put Seth as the heel because he's such a good heel. But if you turn Seth face, then that's a different ball game. Seth as a face versus heel Karrion is good. I want to see the wrestling again. I truly believe we'll get it within the next 5 years. Whereas I really do. Right now, you can't build a good story around Kross being a champion now. Kross and Edge would be a good pairing. Yeah, agreed. Like I say, it's too early to tell. That's why we're here. We're asking you guys how you would book it because it's too early to tell. You can't put him as a world champion. He has been an NXT champion, but honestly, I felt that reign was underwhelming. I really did. I felt it was underwhelming. Again, buried by Adam Cole in promos. Decent matches with Keith Lee if a little short. So Karrion Kross really has a lot to prove, and I think that's where we're going to leave that. Is saying that Karrion Kross has a lot to prove. And we're going to see on SmackDown, which I'll be covering on the channel on Friday, the next moves for Karrion Kross, but some interesting booking for you guys, especially with him potentially being insane in Clash in the Castle. Some people saying he needs to dethrone Roman as soon as Clash in the Castle, which is only a few weeks away. Some people saying, like myself, that if he's going to have any kind of title thing, it can't be against Roman because Roman needs to be beaten by Cody who's the other guy? Roman versus Cody or Roman versus The Rock in that money match, and that's it for me. Karrion Kross isn't there yet, but we're going to see where he is. He's not at The Rock's level, is he? Do you know what I mean? So I think that's where we've got to kind of figure out here. Right now, we've done that. Joseph, maybe have Kross be a legend killer type, then slowly build him into the title contention. Well, I think he's already in the title contention, but I think it's laughable to think he'll win it this soon, unless we want to pull the wool over our eyes massively, Yeah. I mean, the legend killer gimmick could work. It worked before. I think the legend killer gimmick could work really well for a refresh on that for Kross. Maybe even him choking out Randy Orton. But I think he is in the title picture right now. He's been set right into it. People are talking about the triple threat Clash in the Castle. But in terms of a long build, building him that way, it sounds great. Like having him be the legend killer down the line, a year from now, sounds great. Refreshing that gimmick. WWE does like to reuse gimmicks, and that was a tried and tested and positive and decent gimmick that people loved. With when Randy Orton did it. So I think it could absolutely be done. Kross and Edge as a developing tag team. No. I mean, it's interesting booking, and that's what we're here to do, Jamel. We're here to book Karrion Kross back into WWE. When would you put them together? Would you put them together, as soon as now for the Judgment Day feud? But then that means Karrion Kross is a face, and he certainly doesn't look like a face as he re-emerged here a week ago. He looks like he's going for everyone, going for Drew and going for Roman. Kross and Edge is a tag team. I was hoping for Bray to come back and team with Edge. I could see it. Personally, I wouldn't book it that way. I think Kross is a natural singles competitor. Obviously, Edge is not. No, he is a natural singles competitor, known for his singles work as well as his tag team work. But for me, that's not how I would book it, Jamel. But yeah, because Kross is too synonymous with being a singles competitor. The gladiator stuff they tried last time was dreadful. Yes, it was. It was really dreadful, Joseph. And like I said to you earlier, I don't think at all. I don't think Triple H is going to be bringing any of that back. Thankfully, so certainly, we are safe at least, no matter what they do with Karrion Kross, safe at least from the terrible gladiator uniform. Good point. Well, don't worry, Jamal. That's what we're here for. We're here for the debate. And I'd just like to say thank you to the 13 people. And we are finishing up now. You can go back and check out my bookings and the bookings of other people as well in the chat. We'll stop the poll over on YouTube. You'll notice the poll there if you've only just come in. We'll end that poll. Let's see. So Drew and Kross were drawn at 22%. With Cody at 33 and The Rock. So in fact, Kross, Drew, and The Rock had 22%, and Cody had 33. So you guys agree with me, from what I can understand, from what I can see there, that Cody's going to be the guy to dethrone Roman. So again, the only way Kross or Drew can win is if before Clash in the Castle, if it's announced for a Raw Championship, because I believe the SmackDown's going to stay with Roman. I believe right now, both titles are staying with Roman unless they split them up at Clash, and that it's for the Raw Championship. Then you could have Drew win, and it must be Drew. For me, it must be Drew, and Karrion confused with Drew for the title, and that keeps him in the top of the card. And I think that's where he needs to be and where he deserves to be. Even though I'm not a huge fan of his, I understand why he's at the position he's in. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't liked it yet, please do. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. We'll be back in just over an hour, I believe. Anthony will be back with some Dynamite action. Fingers crossed. I am ill, so I am going to bed. Lots of love. Thank you guys for watching. I'll take off the Karrion Kross brand thing so you can see how ill I am. There you go. I am not feeling well at all. Aiden says I think Scarlett should wrestle. Dude, absolutely. Let's put the banner back up because I'm feeling like death. Yeah, I said earlier in the stream that I think Scarlett should wrestle. I think as a very credible and reputable woman's wrestler in Impact Wrestling and stuff like that, I absolutely believe Scarlett could bolster the women's division. And thank you for being here, of course, Aiden. Aiden does feature on the channel with his interview with Sheamus from last year. So everyone say hi to Aiden. Be back later for Dynamite. Just wanted to pop in for a few minutes. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Once again, you can go back to the beginning of this video to see the way I would fantasy book Karrion Kross and to see the way that we've booked collectively. You guys have booked Karrion Kross. And hopefully you enjoy these videos. I don't always look forward to doing them because we don't get so many people through. So thank you for the comments. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for being here. Please do support the channel and support Anthony when he comes back in for some Dynamite action in a little while. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys for SmackDown, all being well. All right. Okay. Well, so thanks, dude. Get better. Thank you, John Lee. I appreciate it. Hope you get better soon. Well, thank you, words. Appreciate it once again. Join Anthony for Dynamite later on. I believe Dan's going to be there. He's just having a nap now as well. So, yeah, guys, thank you so much. This has been How You Book Karrion Kross. Feel free to drop some more bookings in the comments as well. Just let us know what you think. Cheers for watching. We'll see you again really soon. Take it easy.
Hello, welcome, and give me a hell yeah. Give me a whole yeah. Give me a whole yeah. From the Spanish god, Sammy Guevara. Cheers to everyone watching in Yorkshire and beyond. Hope you guys have a great day from the Spanish god. Shout out to Dom, shout out to Anthony. You guys are smart because you're fans of me. And anyways, have a great day.